Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the Civic, something a little different than what we've done to the Civic so far. So this is going to be another video of chipping away at the interior. In the beginning of this build, we redid a lot of the interior. We actually took every bit of the interior out except the dash. But anyway, we're going to be working on the radio. We're going to be putting a brand new, huge thanks to Idoing for sending this over, a new Idoing touchscreen radio. It's going to have Apple CarPlay, which is the most important. So this should be a huge upgrade to the interior of this Civic. We have one in the Subaru right now. I absolutely love it. It's a pretty affordable option for a pretty sweet head unit. It's got a big, like 9-inch screen. Like I said, Apple CarPlay, navigation. I actually bought a little plug to put in my OBD port to read out gauges on it. Yeah, so it should be pretty awesome. Now, the reason this isn't like every other just plug and play swap out is because the touchscreen radio is going to take up this entire piece right here. So we're going to have to figure out what to do with the climate control. Now, some people swap this out to a 99 to 2000 bezel here where you've got your stuff over here, but one, I like the way this one's going to look more, and two, I've heard that it's a little more difficult than just swapping stuff out. Like some people even said you got to do the whole dash. I don't know if that's true, but anyway, we're going to be moving this down here in this little cubby hole. So it's going to definitely take some customizing, some modification, but we'll figure it out. So anyway, let me go do an unboxing of the radio real quick. So if any of you want to purchase an Idoing head unit, my coupon code is BBoost. I'll have a link down in the description below that you can use. But here it is. So we got a bag full of stuff. We've got some pry tools for your plastics, which is super nice. We've got multiple different connectors. I don't know what they're all for. That's some kind of chip, not sure, have to look at the instructions. USB ports for plugging a USB in, that's pretty sweet. Oh, it's dual as well. And we've got a single. We have our antenna. I think this is for like, this might be for the navigation. So that's pretty nice. I think that's an antenna. Not sure what that's for. Maybe I'm not sure. All our different, looks like speaker ports. I don't know if we'll even need to use that, honestly. Another harness. This might be the main harness we use. It looks like amp, auxiliary, reverse, camera in. So you can get a backup camera for these. Key, mic, brake, Wi-Fi, so you can talk on the phone. Here's your speaker to talk on the phone. I don't know if we'll use that or not. Then we've got another antenna here. And here is the head unit. So that is going to look insane in this car, in my opinion. And these are the speakers I got. Just some, they were literally 25 bucks. So we'll throw those in at the end. Okay guys, now we're gonna go ahead, take our interior apart. The first thing I'm gonna do is start with the middle console. There's just some screws in the sides here on both sides. So let's go ahead and get that out. Now I'm going to take this middle piece out just because that's what we're going to be customizing to put the climate control in. Now we're going to start by taking this bottom piece off so we can get to this middle piece. Now the glove box, take it down, press your two plastic sides in. Now you can access the screws to get to this. There's one down low here, I know you can't really see it. And then there's one up here. Mine's actually missing, but there should be two on each side. Oh, sorry. There's two up here in the middle. Now we can access the screws to this bezel here. There's actually 3 screws under there. Once you get those out, it'll pop out. But right now our climate control cable is being caught, so I'm going to try to undo that. Okay, so I undid the climate control cable from down under the dash. There we go. So mine pretty much completely fell apart. Taking everything out of it. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the AC, or just the climate control in general. So, take our radio out, junk. Take some screws out. So, like I said, we're going to be attempting to mount this inside here. Let's take this tray out. I'm going to take these sides off. Bear with me on this. So we're not using these anymore, and we're not using this tray. I am just going to have to start cutting things that I think are going to be in the way and hope we don't screw up. But right now, really the only thing that I am going to keep intact is these, come on, this, and same on this side. So all this stuff up here I'm cutting out. I'm going to have to trim, open this opening up to fit that. But to mount it in the car, we use this and this. So those are the two things you want to keep good. All right, guys, let me show this to you. Made quite the mess, but here it is. You can see the imperfections and the cuts, but I'm happy with it. So what I did was just put some real short self-tappers in the side here. I made sure there was nothing in there, no wires. All your wires are up here. So that's kind of just a void in there, and it worked out perfect. It ain't going anywhere. Now I also went ahead and cut out this piece back here so it'll slide back in the car. But I'm pretty happy with it, and we can hide it if we want it, just like that. So, and I just want to really specify that there's not going to be any step-by-step instructions to do this. You just have to think a little bit, take your time, and do small steps at a time. So what I did as far as the climate control is I cut off, really you can just cut off all of the gray mounting points on the side. Just take them off. And then with the inside of this, cut out, like don't have any mold marks or things sticking out. So I trimmed that real thin to the top, trimmed out everything inside, and then just filed it out with a Dremel until this could sink up into it. And like I said, just simply self-tappers in the sides and everything fit perfect. Okay guys, so it has been about a day since that last clip. I ran into some slight roadblocks. First being the plug that goes into the back of the radio. It does not match the plug that is in the car, but in other YouTube videos I watched, some did match and some didn't. Some radios came with a plug that goes into the radio that you can wire into your car. So I don't quite understand which plugs are which. I think the I'll just put this screenshot I found up on the screen. Some of the plugs are for some years and some of the plugs are for others. Well, this is for the newer year and my car is not a newer year. So I've been spending the last day doing research on that, and I think I've determined how I'm gonna fix it. Now the other roadblock was the vents. So you can see here, hopefully. So you can see this versus our old one, this real skinny one. So I think that some specific EKs have something here, like a button here, versus this. So obviously our vents are not gonna work. One thing you could do is spend $200 and buy the whole bezel with the vents and all the other stuff you don't need off eBay just for the vents, but I'm not doing that. So one thing I did see is people would cut this out and plastic weld that in there. I don't think I'd be able to do a good job. I think it'd look like crap. So I'm not doing that. I don't think I'm doing that. Kind of my one thing, it's like I might as well try this before just cutting that out. And what that's gonna be is I've got my vents here and I've got them kind of assembled. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's little grooves in the vents that this front face of these fins sit in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna super glue with a little bit of super glue the fins into the vents. And I am going to, there's also fins in your bezel. that these sit into, or not fins, but little slots that these sit into. I'm gonna super glue these into there so it's secure. And then to make it fit, I am going to grind not grind, but I'm going to be filing basically this whole inner plastic out. I'm gonna try to leave this little prong hanging out. We might have to shave it. It's gonna be pretty weak. It might break off. I don't know, but that kind of uses that to anchor it into the car. But if it's not there, I'm not real worried about it. So anyway, let's get to shaving this down. I'll show you what it looks like at the end if you guys are gonna do it this way. It kind of sucks we have to do this, but just part of the customization, I guess. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so we trimmed out the whole middle. It's the only way I think we're going to get it to work. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue my vents together. I'll show you that. We'll let those cure up for like a day. Then I'll go ahead and glue them to the actual bezel itself. So let's go get some super glue and do that. Alright guys, so we got it glued. Don't mind my vents, my fins themselves, because they're kind of broken, but still looks good. So what I did was glued under there, and glued and set it all in there. So now what I'm going to do is the exact same thing. I'm going to glue it all back in, right into here, and that is what it's going to look like. Looks pretty good, I think. One thing I did end up doing is shaving off the little tabs that catch it right there. Those tabs are what are supposed to catch that. But we're gluing it all in, so I really don't care about that. I don't know if I don't really think it was gonna fit well in there anyway. So let's go ahead and get it glued. All right guys, once again, it's been a few days since that last clip. I've been figuring out the wiring. So our car plug for the head unit should plug right into the back of the head unit. So let me show you where we're at with that. Here is the back of the head unit. It's kind of like short and stubby. Then if we come to the car, here is the plug that's in the car. See, so it's long and skinny. Now, in the YouTube video I was watching, when I was trying to double check things, their car had a plug that looked like what is going into the head unit. So I did some research, and it appears that different years might have different plugs. I don't know about model specific, but I'll put this picture up here that I found in my research. So you can see that we have the longer, skinnier one. So I reached out to Idoing. They thought they had the right plug. They sent it to me. I had to wait 10 days. Finally came in. It ended up not being the right plug due to a little bit of miscommunication, but it's no big deal. So what I ended up doing was going on Amazon and finding the plugs that fit the head unit and the radio, or the car. So here it is. We're gonna plug this into the car, and this will plug right into the head unit. All the wiring matches up. What we're gonna be doing is just splicing those two together, color to color. I'll link these down below. Here's the part number to that one. And here is that one. But like I said, I'll link them down below. So anyway, let's get to it. What we're gonna do is splice these two together, color to color. I'll see if there's any like discrepancies or whatnot, but let's get started. All right. Just to show you guys exactly what I'm doing here. In this scenario, I matched blue to blue. This wire here is labeled antenna. Come on, antenna. And this blue wire is labeled power antenna. So those are going to go together, color for color. Now I think there is some colors that I see that aren't on the other, and those we're probably just going to leave blank. Like there's an orange and white one on this one called dimmer, and I don't think that goes to anything. But anyway, we're just using a butt connector, and then this isn't really necessary, but I have some string tubing that I'm just going to slide over, and then at the end we're going to heat it and shrink it all together just for extra security. Alright guys, there it is, color to color. We have one that does not have a plug. It's this one. It's called dimmer. So I'm just going to leave that open. I might, I'll close this end off so it doesn't short on anything. But before we go ahead and shrink wrap everything, let's go ahead, plug it all in, and make sure our stereo powers up. There we go, guys, it's powered up. I think you can see that. Perfect. All right, let's finish wiring it. Okay guys, we're ready to put everything back together. So let's go ahead and start installing everything. I don't think we need this antenna wire because our antenna should plug right into here, the one that's in the car. We'll go ahead, plug in our mic. I'm not sure if we're going to use that yet, but let's go ahead and plug it in. All these plugs only go in one spot. So just literally find where it fits and plug it in there. Not going to use this because we don't have amps or anything. Not going to plug in our backup camera because we don't have one of those, but we'll save this just in case we want to get one. And not going to plug in our antenna wire. Now, these antennas, we'll plug these in. This little one goes into GPS. We've got our 4G antenna, which I don't know that we'll use, but I'm going to go ahead and plug that in anyway. It does not matter which one goes in which plug. That's everything plugged in. Let's take it to the car and figure out where we're going to route all this stuff. Guys, actually I take this back just to have less clutter. I'm not going to run the 4G antenna or the little modem, because in order to even make this worthwhile, you have to buy a SIM card from an internet provider and pay for internet to have in there, and I'm never going to do that on the Civic. Maybe the Subaru, but not the Civic. So let's just get this out of the way. But anyway, if you are using it, you know now how to plug it in. I mean, hopefully you know how to plug a wire in, but let's get that out of there. Little navigation antenna, I'm going to run it, I think, through the dash, and I'm going to glue it up in the top corner. It does have double-sided tape on it. Well guys, we are finally finished with the install of the head unit. I absolutely love the way the head unit itself looks and the way that the climate control came out. Now the mic is still here. I am going to double side tape that right there probably, and then the antenna, you can't see, it's right there. I got to stick that in as well. But it is perfect. I love the way it looks. I mean, I already have one of these in the Subaru, so I already know how to work it and everything, but I love it. It's freaking awesome being in the being inside the Civic. I think it just really transforms the Civic itself, and it's kind of cool because it really modernizes the interior of a very old car, you know. So just a little recap on it. Once I got everything figured out, it wasn't that bad. Probably the most difficult part was installing the climate control, getting that to work, just because it's completely custom and anything plastic is pretty difficult to work with, at least in my experience. So overall, I mean, that just kind of makes it pay off even more once you're done with it, because it's custom and it's cool to show people. But once we figured out the wiring, the harness, the adapter, that was easy. And then now that I've figured it out, hopefully you guys can just easily use what I used, and then you won't have any issues or run into any roadblocks. Let's see. I did go ahead, I didn't show it on camera. I went ahead and installed the two speakers in the front. Sound quality is amazing. Everything works fantastic. The speakers in the back already worked. Probably could use an upgrade. But overall, I love it. Everything works fantastic. Once again, a huge thank you to Idoing for sending this over. I already had one in the Subaru, like I said. I bought that one. I used it. I used the crap out of it. I love it. So I figured I would reach out to Idoing, and they were nice enough to send me another one. Next, hopefully I can get one for the Silverado. But in the meantime, we're just gonna enjoy the Civic and the Subaru and go from there. Now, if any of you guys want like an instructional video or like a walkthrough video on the head unit itself, comment down below. I'll see what I can do. I'll make you something. And yeah, if there's anything else you want to see, comment below, let me know. I've got a full turbo build and like transformation, interior transformation, all kinds of stuff on the Civic. So go check those out. And also, if you're still watching, thank you so much for watching. And check out this new outro that we got. Let me know if you like it. Thanks for watching, guys.